experience. And it was, and then when we moved to Kenya, it was like we went to an international school. So there was, and we were in Nairobi, which is like the capital city. It's sort of like the economic hub of East Africa. So it's like pretty big and has a lot of international families and business people and whatever else. And so it was like there was some more like at our school. It was a whole bunch of different cultures combined. It was still an American school, but yeah, I think it was just interesting to like learn about all of those, and also yeah, I think looking back on it now, it's really interesting to like see all of the not so great like racial dynamics and all of that kind of thing that were going on. But.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Anyway, can you tell us about a time where you were fulfilled about the work you do?
Yeah, sure. So I think like the most fulfilling thing to me is visiting clients and like hanging out with them, with their families at their home, or with kids on our summer program calls, or that kind of thing. I'm trying to think. I think last summer when we started doing summer program, that was really fulfilling, just because it was like COVID had hit and everything was sort of thrown into disarray, and like all of these opportunities. I had only started working at World Relief a couple of months before COVID hit. And so I had sort of just been like visiting families, getting to know them. I was supposed to be like visiting a family each week and that kind of thing. And then it was sort of like, oh, no, you can't see anybody and that kind of thing. So it was really nice when summer program started up, and I was like, oh, here are all of these like students who I've like heard about or talked to on the phone, or that kind of thing. And it was just really fun to like do crafts and do sports, like video workouts and read books and whatever else with these kids all the time, every day. So yeah.
Was there a time you were surprised by any of your interactions with your students or anything like that?
I'm not really sure. I'm like kind of hard to surprise. Yeah, I can't think of a lot of things. I think I was really impressed with when COVID hit and schools went online and everything. I called all of our families, all of our parents the first couple days after that happened, and we're like, this is what's going on. And a lot of them like already knew what was going on. And I think I was just really impressed with how much people were tracking with what was, and some people had some questions, but it was sort of people knew pretty much what was going on, and we're like, okay, yeah, we're doing this online school thing. And so and I think also just the kids have done really well this past year with online school. It's been hard, but they've like figured it out and gotten really good at using their computers and that kind of thing. So
since you have a lot of experience working with refugee students and other immigrant students, for those who want to get involved with volunteering at World Relief or any other organization, what is something they should keep in mind?
Yeah, I mean, we always love to have new people come volunteer with us. I think something that's important to keep in mind is that is not to think of it like, oh, I'm helping this person or that sort of thing, but more as like mutual transformation, and we're getting to know each other and building a relationship, and like I'm teaching you things and you're teaching me things, and it's just like we're becoming friends. And I also think it's just important to remember that our goal is like creating self-sufficiency. So trying to like work with kids so that they can figure out how to do things on their own, and work with parents too in terms of like the school system and that kind of thing. We want to like be able to show people how to do something and do it with them, so that like next time they can do it themselves, because we don't want them to always need us to help them with some of those things.
Self-sufficiency. I think that's really important. Okay. We had some internet issues today, so I'm in my living room. But yeah, last question, perhaps the most important question. Most of our subscribers are likely to be supportive of immigrants and refugees, but some are not. So if you don't mind, could you share a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Sure. So I think one thing that's important to remember is just that most of the people who make up the US right now were at some point immigrants. Probably your ancestors were immigrants, whoever it is who's not in support of immigrants and refugees. And that's how you got here. Um, so it's just important to remember that that's like probably also part of your story. And I think also it's important to remember that, like in the case of a lot of refugees and that sort of thing, it wasn't really their choice to come to the States. I know that in the US, there's like sort of this prevailing idea that like the US is the best country and everyone just wants to come here and live here. And there are some good things about the US, but there are also good things about a lot of other countries. And it's not that like people just want to come and be in the US and be American and that sort of thing. It's that they are literally unable to continue surviving in their own country, which is where they would love to be. Like they would love to be at home with their family, in a place where they know how things work exactly. But that's just not possible because of conflict or persecution or violence or whatever the case may be. And so I think that it's really important for us to remember that like this is also this wasn't exactly their number one choice. For a lot of refugees, if their number one choice would to be home and be in their original country, their second choice might be to be in the country they originally fled to. So for example, if they were fleeing from the DRC, from Congo, and they originally fled to Uganda, they would probably rather stay in Uganda, but maybe that's not really possible with legal things there and how much capacity there is and that kind of thing. But they'd rather stay there because it's more similar to home and it's not far from home and they could hope to go back someday. So it's really not like they're just trying to come and be in the US. I think another important thing to remember is that immigrants are actually very helpful to the US in so many ways. Economically, it's more advantageous to welcome immigrants, and socially and culturally, and just so many things. There's so much that they have to offer this country, and I think it really is our responsibility to welcome them and make them feel at home and help them feel that they can build a new home here. So those are a few of my thoughts.
Yay! Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your story, and for your time today.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.